Alrighty, we are live again. Hello, everybody. Hello, teachers, elementary teachers of all over the place. Welcome. We are doing session number 3 of the 5 sessions of the series we call Gardening in Your Classroom. These are free series for educators, but if you haven't registered for the class, I encourage you to go ahead and do register. Let me put that link up there again, just to make sure that you are registered, because I am sending workbooks and handouts and presentation decks to the registrants, and the registrants are those who can actually enter into the uh, contest that we are going to be having on Friday. So welcome from wherever that you are watching, and welcome also if you are watching on a replay. Not everybody can attend these live, and that's why we have a class page for all the registrants to this workshop. And the class page includes all of the recordings of all these 5 sessions. We started on Monday, and this is the 3rd session. Tomorrow we're going to have another session filled with information about gardening in your classrooms, and on Friday as well. So make sure that you are registered to the class, so that you get all the benefits that comes with this free class. I am going to share my screen, and we're going to get started. Let me know that you are here in the comments. This system is StreamYard is a system I'm using. It's supposed to bring all of the comments and questions from all the 3 platforms, from LinkedIn and Facebook, as well as YouTube, and show it to me. I did have a few issues with it yesterday. There were some weird things coming in. I hope I don't know. I don't know what was going on with that. Sometimes it's technology. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't work. Hopefully this one it's been pretty good so far. So let me know that you are here. It's supposed to show me your comments, and let me know where you are from and what grade you teach and all of that. That would be amazing. So I'm supposed to see them again in the comments section. Okay, so let us get started. I can see that people are coming in, but I still don't see any other comments. So if you put in comments, at least let me know if you can hear me. Can you hear me? That's another thing, right? Hopefully, so far so good. So far it's been pretty good. So it's supposed to work well. We are going to get started because I don't want to take a lot of time. I have been focusing on making these half an hour sessions. I do go on tangents, and I am very excited about this topic. So sometimes I do that, but hopefully not anymore. Not today. Today is a very very important session, as all the other sessions were and will be. So let me share my screen. Hopefully you can see my screen. And let me take the banner away so that, there you go, so that you can see the entire screen. And let's get started. So this is the session 3 of gardening in your classroom. So this is what's happening. I am going live every day, and this class is free, but I do, and it's at 6 p.m. Eastern time. Everything is recorded. Please register if you haven't registered, so that you get all the handouts and workbooks and presentation decks, so that you can take advantage of the full benefits of this class. We try to keep it short and sweet. If you have comments, if you're watching from, and questions, if you're watching from LinkedIn, Facebook, or YouTube, This system is supposed to bring all the comments, so be interacting and participating and commenting and asking questions. If you don't want to do that publicly, that's totally okay. You can always email me at laylam@kidsgrowingcity.ca. And I have been actually seeing and receiving a lot of emails about all different types of questions about this. Now, some of these questions are about the program that I am offering at the end of this workshop, starting the paid program that starts on Monday. I am going to answer those questions on Friday, if you don't mind. All the other questions that you've asked and you've been asking about the technical aspects of what I'm teaching and all of that, practical questions and all that, I think, hopefully, I have answered them directly to you. All those questions are being gathered, and on Friday, I'm going to mention all of them again, and so that everybody can hear the answer to everybody's question, because most of the questions are shared a lot of times. So let us go back to the screen and move forward. So this is the agenda of this week. As you know, we've already talked about the logistics in the classroom garden and focusing on the space. We've talked about supplies and tools yesterday, a very, very practical session. You do want to go ahead, make sure that you are registered and go ahead into the class page and watch the recordings again about that. Today we're going to talk about managing your time in a classroom garden, because time is one of the most important issues and things that I hear from educators that complain about, that I don't have enough time. So let's focus on that and get that out of the way today. Tomorrow we're going to be talking about what, where, how, and who of the classroom gardening. And on Friday there's going to be a review, a Q&A, lesson plan giveaway, as well as talking about the Oasis Classroom program, which is a paid program that we are opening the doors to on Monday. Okay, so that's the agenda. And today we're going to be focusing about time. What I hear from educators a lot is, but I don't have time. Yes, gardening in my classroom sounds amazing. I would love that I had the time to do it, but how do I find time? I hear you. I have been working with educators for years and years and years, a lot of them, right? And I know I know how busy you are. You guys are busy. Your lives are filled with sometimes drama, and you have to cover a lot in your classrooms. That is just unbelievable. And then COVID came, like your life wasn't already busy enough, and then online training and offline training and in-person training and hybrid training and this and that, and you have to prepare material for online as well as prepare material for in-person. It's a chaos. I know. I have a child in the public school system. I have had two kids in the public school system, and throughout the last decade, I've worked with many teachers growing school gardens and classroom gardens. I know, I get it. I totally do. I trust me, and I have throughout the last decade, I have built many relationships with a lot of educators. I have a lot of teacher friends, and I hear you. I know it is crazy. So that's why I'm here. I'm here to help you to find the time that you want to spend on the classroom garden, because especially in these hard times, classroom gardens are a source of hope. They're amazing. You do want to have them. You do want to have them, or you wouldn't be sitting here and listening to me, right? So let's get to it. Now, all of that said, I would like to suggest something. We always do find time for what's important to us. Or better to say, we find a way to make it work with the limited time that we have. So the question actually is, how important is this gardening in your classroom to you? And if it is important, I'm here to help you to manage your time well and find that time to get this done in your classroom. Now, I want to suggest something. What if, and it is, if this is important to you, what if you didn't need a lot of extra time for it? What if there was a way to avoid spending time after hours, on lunchtime, in extracurricular clubs and programs and things like that? What if you could do it without spending, and I put extra in quotes because this is, I want to bring attention to this, and we're going to talk about this. What if there was a way? And obviously, I'm going to tell you that there is a way, and I'm going to show you how and what that way is and how we can do that. Now, let me tell you a story, and this is a story of, I'm going to go through this very quickly. This is a story of a decade of my work in kids growing city, growing school gardens and classroom gardens. In 2013, I started this work as an extracurricular after school program. Okay, so I've done that like that. I actually started it like that. The reason is that I was just a mom. I was not a teacher. I did not have direct access to students. So the only way I could do this was to do it as a vendor, to bring a program to schools as an extracurricular program. Then I offered it as an in-school program because one of the amazing teachers that I, brought my program to, and I wanted to run it in her school. It was a public school as an after-school program. She actually looked at my program, and this was not even today's program, which is fine-tuned for a decade and is much, much better. It was like the very first version, yucky. If I look at it right now, it totally embarrasses me type of program. Back then, because I was not a teacher. Remember, I did not have my studies yet done in environmental studies. I did not have my education diploma yet at that point in time. And I did not have the experience that I have today working with educators and building school garden programs and stuff like that. She looked at it and she's like, oh my God, this connects to the curriculum so much. I want you to teach it as an in-school and not as an after-school program. So that's how it got started. The in-school program got started. And the difference that I saw between the in-school program and the after-school program, huge, huge. And I'm not going to get into that. I'm only going to mention the time-related issues that we had with the after-school program, and we didn't have with an in-school program. So it was amazing what a difference it made just to have the time with the students in the classroom to do it instead of having to do it as an after-school program. I continued teaching it as a club, as an extracurricular, as an after-school, as a lunchtime program, as an in-school program, you name it, I've done it. Okay, and trust me when I say I am going through this timeline really, really quickly. And I do not want to start getting into tangents and telling you long stories and all of that. Just trust me when I say I've been doing this and only this. And this is where the expertise come from. In many different settings. I've done it in clubs, I've done it in after school, I've done it in lunchtime, I've done it in school, I've uh, taught it as an in-person workshop to educators. I have done online courses for educators. I have ran online clubs for teachers. I have worked with you guys. I have worked with you guys, educators. I have listened, I have observed, and I have fine-tuned the program for a decade. I've also researched it. I'm just putting it out there because my master's degree research was actually about the topic of obstacles in the way of school gardening and as well as solutions. So why am I telling you this? Because of what I'm about to tell you, the solution that I have found, what I have found about time in a classroom garden in school. What did I find? Now, what I'm about to tell you might sound very simple to you, but I would like to invite you to pay close attention to it and do not dismiss it as a simple thing or as an obvious thing. It might, to some of you, sound wrong because it goes against the way you have been thinking about doing garden in your school. So keep an open mind, please, if that's the case with you. And it might sound, obvious, totally obvious to you. But think about it if it sounded obvious. Think about it, and tell me if that is actually how you were planning to do it. Again, as I mentioned in the first session, common knowledge is not common practice. So just because something sounds obvious, or just because something you think you know something, doesn't mean that you were planning to do it. It doesn't mean that you are going to do it. So um, it's important. So when I say this, you might be thinking, oh my God, Leila, are you going to really waste my time and take half an hour of my time and dedicate an entire session to this very simple topic? Yes, I am, because this is important. This comes from experience. It comes from expertise. Please pay attention to this. Please, 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 please. Okay, so let's get to it then. You need to look at the school or classroom garden as a learning tool for your current curriculum, for what you already had to teach in math, in science, in social studies, in language, in health and physical education, etc., etc. Wherever you're from, whatever you call these topics, whatever you were supposed to teach to your students, the classroom garden or the school garden is a learning tool to do just that, to do just what you were supposed to be doing. And if you think about your classroom garden that way, all of a sudden, a lot of time starts to appear in your life. And I'm going to tell you how. So we're going to talk about it. We're going to deep a little bit deeper into this. Now, so you need to connect the garden to the curriculum expectations, or whatever you call it where you are. And how do you do that? Well, it does take a little bit of attention and planning. Some grades are easier than others, and some subjects are easier than others. Kindergarten to grade 2 are super easy. It's just unbelievable how easy it is. And grade 3 to 8 need a little bit more attention, but it still connects really well. And I say that because I've done this. My Oasis Garden program, Oasis Classroom program, and all my programs previously are connected. So we've worked on this and we've done it. Let me show you some examples. Now, this is an example of curriculum expectations connections that we have built for only grade 4, only for Ontario curriculum, and only for one of our lessons, like one of the sessions called Seeds and Seedlings, only for science. Okay, so, and this is just a picture. So let me bring up the actual document. Which one is this? Hold on. Can you see this document? So this is math. Let me bring science because we were talking about science. Here's a science document for the curriculum connections of just one of the 15 lessons that we have in Oasis Classroom, Oasis Classroom program, or my previous program, Seeds and Seedlings. So look at the expectations. Analyze, and this is Ontario expectations, right? And if you are in the US and watching this, oh my God, the similarities between our curriculum and your curriculum is huge, So just because I'm showing you Ontario curriculum expectation connections doesn't mean you can't connect it. Let me read through a few of these and you'll see how easily you can connect it to your own curriculum. So analyze the effects of human activity on habitats and communities. Okay, tell me that does not connect to gardening. It does. Let's go to the next one. Investigate the interdependence of plants and animals within specific habitats and communities. Oh my God, gardening in your classroom and you're teaching science, right? It connects. Let's go a little bit further down below. So let's look at this one actually that does not have a check mark in front of it. Follow established safety procedures for working with soils and natural materials. Okay, now here's the thing. This is about seeds and seedlings. We do have another lesson for soil. And this curriculum expectation, sorry, oops, what did I do? Let's undo that. And this curriculum expectations does not have a check mark in front of it because for science, because it's seeds and seedlings lesson will have a check mark in front of it when we're talking about soil, because there's another lesson in our series of lessons that talks about soil. And so on and so forth. So let me show you so you might be saying, okay, so, but this is science. Of course, science connects, right? Show me connections in math. So, right? Because math, for some reason, is the one that most educators think they can't connect to a garden. So let's go to math. So there are some like specific, emotional learning topics, which are obviously easy to connect to a school garden. But let's go to something more tangible, like the number sense. Demonstrate an understanding of numbers and make connections to the way numbers are used in everyday life. Okay, and the key word is everyday life. Of course, you can connect this to a classroom garden. To connect your math curriculum to everyday life, and you can see everyday life here, and you can see everyday life here, and you can see everyday life all over the place. To do that, you would need some sort of tool, right? Sometimes you use math sheets, and sometimes you use actual physical blocks and things like that. Sometimes you use seeds and seedlings, so for the practical life aspect of teaching math. Let's say that we are talking about compare and order whole numbers up to and including 10,000 in various contexts. Okay, can you come up with an idea when you're working with seeds and seedlings to teach this? Of course you can. We can count the number of seeds, like it goes down, and it talks about fractions and ratios. Okay, so let's talk about when we're talking about fractions. Let's talk about, okay, how many seeds did we actually plant, and then later on come back and see what percentage of them actually did germinate or did not germinate, and all of those things. You can do divisions, like how many seeds do we have and how many students do we have. Like seriously, you can do anything you want in a classroom garden. You can connect to not everything and anything, but a lot of your curriculum. I bet that does connect. Yes, there are some things that we couldn't necessarily connect, but it doesn't matter. You don't This is just a tool, and as long as you can teach some of your curriculum in this garden, and this is just one lesson, and this is just math. You can do the same with science, you can do the same with social studies. Oh my god, social studies. You can do the same with language. Trust me. Health, oh my god, health connects so well. So essentially, you can do it in your own classroom time, in your own uh, what's it called? The time that you have with your class, with your students, while teaching your own curriculum and trying to meet the expectations. When we used to go and do this program in schools before COVID, when my facilitators were actually allowed to go as vendors to go to schools because exposure and all that was not a problem, essentially we would teach, and the teachers who were observing us teaching and helping us teaching this curriculum to their students would be taking off their curriculum expectations because it connects so much. Let's go back to this again. So let's go back to the presentation. So that's one example. It's in science and technology, just for grade 4. You can connect it to almost all grades the same way. And this is another example I just showed you about math. So you can connect. Okay. So now you might be saying, okay, what about the gardening clubs that I was planning to have? What about the environmental club that I wanted to have? If I teach all of this and do all of this work and grow all of this food in my classroom, then I had really amazing ideas about having a garden club and environmental club. What about those? Have those. Those are very, very helpful. Okay. But you don't have to have them. That's what I'm trying to tell you, because those do take extra time. We're talking about time and managing your time, right? We're talking about the fact that you're extremely busy, right? Running these clubs take out of your personal time. It requires a lot of coordination and management and your lunchtime and your after hours and your personal time. And if you're complaining about not having enough time, I'm just trying to tell you, you don't have to do the clubs. But if you did plan for having them, they're very, very helpful. So let's still have the clubs because they can help with outreach, creating awareness about the classroom gardens, caring for the classroom gardens, advocacy work. They can do communications and problem solving. For example, I don't know, they can be responsible for making sure that in the caring station, the caretakers don't close down the blinds during the day, check on it, make sure it's on away, and make sure that the plants have enough water, blah blah blah. There's extra there's extra work that they can do. They can help you. They can create markets, they can sell the seedlings, they can do cooking and harvesting, and they can do planting other things other than the vegetables in your classroom, like a wild garden for the bees and butterflies, etc. They can still be very, very helpful. So if you've been planning to have those, have them. But what I'm trying to tell you is you don't have to have them. Imagine how much more could be done and taught, and how much more could be empowered and inspired, how many more students could be empowered and inspired if we taught growing food in the classroom and not just in clubs. Okay, now I've done clubs. I have helped educators do clubs. I have done after school programs, lunchtime programs, in school programs. Trust me when I say the impact and effect of doing this in your own classroom, while it does not require extra time and energy out of you, is huge in comparison to just running a club with 15 students. And if this could be done in every one of your classrooms, imagine how much more inspiration and empowerment and learning and education would happen. Again, without you having to sacrifice your personal life, personal time, or anything else for that matter to get this done. Now, let's focus on how we can actually spend the minimum amount of class time for the maximum impact. I am going to in tomorrow's session, I'm going to get into what to teach and how to teach it and when to teach it and all of that. So don't worry about that. We're going to get there. And my Oasis Classroom program, which I'm opening doors to on Monday, is 15 complete packages of everything you would ever need without you having to do anything, with all the curriculum connections that I just showed some of you to some of it to you, lesson plans and posters and student booklets and curriculum connections, everything. Okay, so what we do in Oasis Classroom program is that at the end, so the timing of it, that's how you should be doing it. So at the end of winter, it's planning time, which is now, right now. You need to be planning your lesson plans and your timing and which seedling gets planted when, and all of that. Then early to mid spring is planting time. That's when you use your classroom time to actually do this work with your students, and get planting, learning, teaching, going through your curriculum expectations while you are growing actually the classroom garden. And then what's not part of the Oasis Classroom program is all the extra stuff you can do with the seedlings that you've created with your students mid to end of spring. And so at the end of the school year, you can harvest them, cook them, sell them, donate them, give them away. Or if you have a school garden, you can transplant them as they get ready from mid-spring to the end of school year. You can transplant them in the school garden. But again, this is not our focus in these series of free workshops is not school garden, it's classroom garden, because even school garden starts with the classroom. So now, mistakes I see teachers make, and this is super important, so please pay attention. So we get excited about the classroom garden. Oh, wow, that would be amazing. It would be amazing if I could grow a garden inside my classroom, okay? Which is totally valid. You should be excited about it. It is exciting because there's so much opportunity. Then we go out there and we find free one-time activities, a bunch of sporadic, not cohesive, non-related to each other, sometimes not even proper for our season, not related to our school schedule, none of that. A bunch of sporadic activities, and then we can find time to do them, to do this extra on top of what we want to teach in our classroom, because we're busy, we have to cover a lot, and we have to put out fires all the time, and we have to deal with, you know, right now with all the COVID issues and all of that, there's a lot going on, right? So we don't find that extra time in our classrooms. We try to do it in clubs, which takes more time and energy out of us. And then because it hasn't been a cohesive program, that takes care of everything for us, and it's not connected to the seasons or the school schedule or our curriculum, or anything like that, we either give up because we can't find the time for it, or just do some things with very little impact. And then what ends up happening is that we tell ourselves, see, I knew I didn't have the time because I gave up. I didn't do it. I went out and I found a bunch of, activities. They sounded very exciting, but I couldn't find the time to do them because it did not connect to what I was supposed to do in my classroom, and I didn't have a good plan for it. Or I did very little and it had very little impact, or I did some of those activities, but because of all the mistakes in terms of the timing and the seasons and all of that, they didn't grow very well, and the impact was so little, and you feel discouraged for so much time that you put into this with so little results. I've seen this happening time and time again. I've been doing this with the educators for almost a decade, and this is still what's happening. It's so unfortunate. And I'm so happy that you're watching this. And I hope that you don't make this same mistake. It needs to come with a plan. So let's put a pin on where in this path we go wrong. We go out there, and if we find a few different, one-time activities that we think we can do in a club, and then this plan lacks coherence, it's short term, and has little connection to seasons, school schedule, or curriculum, and that's where everything goes off track. Okay, so now, solution obviously is the opposite of the problem that we were just talking about. You need a coherent long-term plan, thoroughly connected to the seasons, to your school schedule, and to your curriculum. And if you have that, an Oasis Classroom is that. And now you must be thinking, oh, there we go. She wants to sell us her own program. Of course, I want to sell you my own program, but not because that's going to make me a millionaire, because I care, because I've been doing this for decades, and I've been seeing educators making this mistake time and time again. Yes, I want you to buy my program. But here's the thing. Tomorrow, I'm going to prove to you that it's not about selling my program and making money. Trust me, if I wanted to have a money-making business, growing a school garden or gardens with kids wouldn't be the best choice. I'm here because I care, and I've been here for almost a decade, and I've been doing this day in and day out, and only this. I've done my research, I've worked with educators, I have an amazing program that I know can help you, okay? So now to prove to you, tomorrow I'm going to be talking about the entire structure of my program, okay? So as I mentioned many times during this week, and I will continue to mention this, I want whoever is participating in this free series of classes to to be very helpful to them if they do join the OSS classroom or if they don't join the OSS classroom. Okay, so I want you to get started. I want you to be inspired to act, but I want you to be inspired to act in the right way. If we make the same mistakes that we've been making, or we haven't done this, but we are making the mistakes that other educators have been making, and we're now listening to somebody who's seen that, who's worked with them, and who's telling us, hey, this is not the right way to do it. If you want to have the impact that a classroom garden would have, this is the way to do it. You need to have a plan that's coherent, and it's long term, and it connects to your seasons, to your school schedule and your curriculum, so that you can do it during your class time and you don't have to spend extra time doing it. Because we're talking about time, right? We're talking about finding a way or finding the time to do this work. Okay, yay, I'm almost only 40 minutes into this. I promised you guys that I would do these sessions in 30 minutes, and we're getting there finally, huh? I do value your time very much. So if you are registered to the class, if you're not registered, please go get registered so that you can have the class homework, the workbooks. Please go and review the notes that you had and during the session. Download and print your workbook of session 3. Sorry, 1 second. Let's go back and fix that mistake. That's a copy-paste mistake, as you can imagine. So go do that. Answer the workbook questions and decide on the one action you will make this week to move forward and towards having the classroom garden of your dreams. And I will see you tomorrow when we will cover the topic of what to teach, how to teach it, when to teach it, essentially what to plant when. I'm giving all my secrets away. I want you to get into action and actually do this work. And on Friday, yes, I will be talking about OSS Classroom. There are two, from the feedback that I've been getting from you guys, there will be 2 different programs that I will be releasing. First is going to be the OSS Classroom for grade 3s to 8, and then it's going to be in a smaller program focused on kindergarten to grade 2. So that's all going to be next week, but I'm going to briefly talk about it on Friday and answer your questions, any questions you might have about it on Friday. And next week we're gonna dig more deep into that program. But tomorrow I'm going to be sharing more. Make sure that you do go through all the sessions, because tomorrow is going to be essentially bringing everything together and getting really, really practical, talking about what and when, so that you can have all the tools and everything that you need that would get you started, even if you don't join me in the OSS Classroom program. Okay, So that's it for me today. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for following. If you have any questions, again, let's put that a little bit bigger so that you can see the email address better. I'm here for you. Please email me. Let's get all your questions answered. Thank you if you've been sending me questions. I've been answering them, but I will also answer all of them again so everybody can hear it at the same time on Friday. So please send them in and go get your homework done. I have given you 3 homeworks for the 3 sessions so far. They are very, very short. They're not going to take a lot of time from you, but they're very important and they're going to help you move forward into action. And action is all we want. Okay, so I'm going to be sending the presentation deck to the registrants tonight, and I will see you tomorrow. Okay, thank you again for being here, and I'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.